Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast. I never thought I would be doing a topic on this, but I am right here, right now doing it. I'm giving my honest review and my opinion on Mr. Andrew Tate, the top G, as some people, I think is self-proclaimed or someone's just given him that title. I'm not sure where it's come from. So I guess where I stood with this, guys, is I had only seen the little snippets. I'd only seen the little 30-second, 60-second snippets that were very polarizing, saying really harsh things like very misogynistic style things, very harsh. It was very, very polarizing, very volatile snippets and videos. And that kind of gave me my whole perception of him. And I didn't actually dive into his content quite deeply, and I honestly was judging him. I was on the anti Andrew Tate bandwagon. I thought he was a dick. I thought he was an asshole. I thought he was just a dick trying to get clicks, trying to get views, just by saying really extreme fucking shit. So that was my view on him. And then I just had a conversation to myself because a video popped up. I saw he got unblocked on Twitter, and then I'm like, you know what? I've never actually listened to him speak freely, openly, for more than a 30-second snippet that someone has snipped together to make him look like a criminal or a villain. So let's actually watch it. So for anyone that's listening to this podcast, go to YouTube or wherever you watch your podcast and type in Andrew Tate, Patrick Bet David. So Patrick B-E-T David. There's a 4-hour and 52-minute podcast on there, and I think it's really interesting just to hear the way he speaks, the way he articulates things. I think he's a really smart gentleman, really smart man. You can use the word gentleman if you want to. He's a really smart guy, and I guess my honest, unfiltered review on him is I don't agree with the way he polarizes himself so much. He literally says on that podcast, he says things deliberately to piss people off. And you can say that's a good thing or a bad thing. He uses the example, men biologically are stronger than women. So instead of saying men are stronger than women, he says women are weak. And he will say it like that just to trigger people. And I don't necessarily agree with that style of communicating, intentionally saying things to trigger people. But you could obviously argue that with me because I do videos around depression, saying depression medication is not going to fix depression or anxiety. I say that because it is my genuinely true belief, and that are my beliefs. So something you can take away from him that I do like is that he speaks his beliefs. He speaks what he truly fucking believes, which is going to polarize people whether you like it or not. There's going to be people that you just don't want to stay in the middle. You don't want to stay half pregnant. You don't want to say, I kind of believe this, but I'm too scared to speak my mind because if people don't like me, then you're never really going to follow through with who you truly are. So that is something I do like about him. But something I really do like and something I really do value from him that I think the world needs a little bit more of, especially when it comes to men. I'm speaking for the male population majority here. Obviously, females and women and all gender types and however you identify yourself can pick up maybe some value from this, is something that he says it again, very polarized. He says it in such a fucking vicious style. But something I do like about him is he uses the term kind of alpha males and men that like the traditional way of what men should be like. And again, there's a silver lining here somewhere, but just let me use an example and then I'll apply his beliefs to it. Picture a man or a boy who goes out, he works a job that he doesn't love. He does the bare minimum. He comes home, he smokes vapes, he plays video games, he smokes weed, and he does nothing with his life. And then he complains that his life is not going anywhere. And not just men here, women as well, but I'm speaking generally to men because this is where Andrew Tate generally targets his content, is I love the stance he takes where he says, get the fuck up and go do something with your life. I've got friends and family members who complain they're broke and complain that their life is not where they want to be, and they're playing fucking Fortnite and they're scrolling on their phones and they're doing nothing about it. So the part I do agree with, he says it in such a brutal way, which offends a lot of people, triggers a lot of people, polarizes a lot of people, and that's probably his intention. That's probably what he's trying to do. But the part I do agree with is that people need to get up and go make something for themselves. Stop playing victim. And I'm in the mental health space, so I appreciate you need to have space to heal. You need to regulate your emotions. You need to work through your wounds. You need to work through your traumas. You need to heal yourself. I agree with that. I preach that. I teach that. I do that stuff as well. But something that, again, I'm just keep coming back to his point is, as human beings, as men, as women, as leaders, you got to get out of your own pity party. You got to stop feeling sorry for yourself. You can't. It's a quote that it went around a lot when we went through the pandemic, and I think it's quite relevant for this conversation. Hopefully I get this right. Is good times make weak people. Weak people make bad times. Bad times make strong people. Strong people make good times. Now, if you're in an upbringing where it's easy, where you don't have to work hard, where life is given to you, you don't have to do anything. Mum and dad buy everything for you. If you don't go get a job, the government's going to give you money and you can just live off that. If you're in an environment where it's easy and you don't have to work, it makes you fucking weak. And that's the belief I actually agree with Mr. Andrew Tate. I agree that we need to stop feeling sorry for ourselves and we need to get up and fucking make something of ourselves. We are fucking warriors. We are capable of anything that we want to do in life. But a lot of us are in our own way and we come up with all these fucking stories and excuses to why we can't do it. It's a line Tony Robbins uses all the time. He says, when human beings are either going to die or succeed, tend to succeed. So when you're pushed and challenged, majority of the time, we step up to it. And yes, again, I think the balance, this is where I don't think Andrew Tate really caters to this market or to this audience, because he's very polarized in his beliefs, which is totally fair enough, is that we also need support. We need that environment to regulate our emotions. Think of 3 circles. For anyone that's watching the video podcast, my cat has just jumped up to join the podcast. Here's my cat, by the way. If anyone watching the podcast, we got him a week ago. Here's my cat. So the balance part that I don't think Tate really goes into is we do need support in life, because too much challenge breaks us. Too much support makes us weak. We grow on the borderline of support and challenge. So I like that Andrew Tate is challenging those fucking lazy people that stay at home playing video games, smoking fucking weed, and complaining that they can't do anything with their life. They need a challenge. They need to kick up the fucking ass to go out and make something for themselves. I like that part about Andrew Tate. I don't like the fact that he does say it in such a fucking brutal way, but again, each to their own. That's his way of speaking. Fair enough. That's cool. Some people will say I'm an asshole for what I say because I speak about depression. I speak about anxiety. I speak about traumas. I did a live video the other day on TikTok, and I had this lady, her name's Claire, and she was like brutally attacking me for the things that I was saying. You don't know what you're talking about. You're a charlatan. Who the fuck are you? And she just didn't agree on what I said, which is fair enough. I'm strong on my beliefs. I believe it can be communicated in a better way, which he actually admits to on this podcast. So for anyone that's maybe on the fence about this, go watch the podcast, Andrew Tate, Patrick Bet David. If you just write Andrew Tate with Patrick on it, it should come up. It's a 4-hour, 52-minute podcast, and he admits to it. He says, look, some of the stuff I said does come across the wrong way, so I'm learning how to curate it. I'm learning how to XYZ. So that's my takeaways anyways. I believe he's got value to add. He's a very smart businessman. He's done very well in business. He has very good morals in some areas. You'll listen to the podcast, listen to it for your own sense of, feedback and opinion. And I do like the fact that he challenges people that fucking complain and don't do anything and just stay at home and play victim to say, get up and go do something about yourself. Go get your life together. Go make some fucking money. Go help people. Go add value to the world. I do agree with that. But again, I don't believe he then balances that with yes, you need time to heal. You need time to express yourself. It's good to regulate your emotions. It's good and important to have a safe environment where you can regulate yourself and regulate what you're going through. So that's probably the balance point that I would add on top of him. But again, that's my belief versus his. So that's my honest opinion, guys. I think he's very polarizing. I think he says it on purpose. He actually says that in the podcast I keep referencing. I think he does have value to add. I think majority of people that fucking hate him have never actually watched a podcast of him. They've only watched the 60-second little reels where people literally snip out the most brutal, polarizing stuff and plaster it everywhere. So I don't think anyone's actually sat down and watched an hour plus of him speaking freely without all the snippets put up. But that's my honest take. Agree, disagree, it's up to you, but this is my honest take on him. I don't subscribe to all his beliefs. He's got some very polarizing beliefs around women, around society, around, I guess, control and relationships that I don't necessarily agree to, but there are some he does have some values to add. He is a dick, he's an ass, but he's got some value to add. So do yourself a favor, go do your own research, go watch unedited shit. That podcast, 5 hours of just flowy conversation. It's good to actually take on a bit of raw, real footage of him. But again, up to you guys. I hope you got some value from this for what it's worth. Hope you guys are well. Have a great day. Love you all. Goodbye.